Intimacy of touch with moon in Shravana Nakshatra. Touched with love, caring, and nurturing at physical, mental, and emotional levels. With the moon in Shravana, touch is communication at its purest form. You don't just feel with your skin, you listen through it. Touch becomes a sacred language, a way to transmit comfort, devotion, understanding, and presence, especially when words fall short. For you, physical closeness is not casual. It is a ritual of attunement, a vow quietly made with fingers, breath, and presence. Shravana is ruled by Vishnu, the preserver of dharma, and symbolizes listening, learning, and legacy. This nakshatra naturally imbues your emotional body with a deep sensitivity to sound, vibration, and emotional nuance. You don't crave grand gestures. You crave grounded, thoughtful presence. A hand that rests silently beside you when you're anxious. A shoulder offered without needing to ask. A long, slow hug that says, "I hear you," even in silence. You want to be touched not just with affection, but with intention and respect. Touch for you is about being heard and held at the same time. When someone's energy is stable and clear, their physical closeness calms your nervous system like a mantra. But if their energy is chaotic or disconnected, even a gentle hand can feel intrusive. You offer the same care in return. You don't rush into physical affection. You observe, attune, and respond. You might rub your partner's back as they vent, hold their hand during uncertainty, or offer long, grounding embraces. For you, touch is devotional. It's not about claiming, it's about creating a space of reassurance and renewal. But if trust is broken or emotional understanding is missing, your body resists contact. Not out of punishment, but because your moon needs emotional safety to allow physical closeness. You may become quiet, restrained, or politely distant, needing time to return to alignment before letting another into your physical field again. To deepen this intimacy, say, "Touch feels most healing to me when it's given with stillness and awareness. I don't need intensity, I need attunement." Or when you reach for me with your full presence, I open, because I know I'm not being rushed or misunderstood. And allow yourself to be touched when you're quiet. Let love enter through the pauses. Let a gentle hand on your shoulder say what you're not ready to voice. Let the warmth of someone's arms remind you that you don't have to carry it all alone. Because when touch becomes not expectation, but emotional listening through the body, your Shravana moon finds the intimacy it was born to cultivate. A love that says, "I don't just touch your skin, I hear your spirit, and I will answer always with care." Intimacy of sensate with moon in Shravana Nakshatra. To be heard, seen, tasted, smelled at physical sensory levels. With the moon in Shravana, the senses are not just instruments of experience, they are instruments of understanding. You absorb life through listening, observing, sensing quietly. The world speaks to you through tone, rhythm, presence, and you respond not to noise or performance, but to genuine resonance. Intimacy, for you, is being perceived accurately, not just in body, but in essence. Shravana is ruled by Vishnu, the deity of preservation, and its symbol is the ear. You were born to listen, not only with your ears, but with your entire being. A slight change in your partner's voice can tell you more than their words. A glance that lingers a second too long speaks volumes. You are attuned to the emotional frequency behind the sensory input. You do not require constant sensory stimulation, but you require consistency in sensory integrity. You notice when someone's gaze is unsure, when their smile doesn't match their energy, when their words feel practiced. If what you hear, see, or sense doesn't match what you feel, it creates quiet tension in your system. You can't be close to someone whose sensory signals are scrambled or insincere. But when someone shows up whole, voice calm, eyes open, touch steady, you receive them deeply. Even simple sensory moments feel intimate. Sipping tea together in silence, listening to music that touches your shared emotional landscape, standing side by side without needing to fill the space with words. These experiences calm your moon and draw you inward toward connection. You offer the same depth in return. You speak softly but with meaning. You make eye contact not to demand attention, but to affirm presence. You choose tone, texture, timing, and even scent with care. When you cook, you infuse nourishment. When you dress, you subtly reflect the atmosphere. You are not flashy, but your sensuality is precise and intimate through restraint. To deepen this intimacy, offer clarity. Say, I feel most connected when what I sense matches what you feel. It doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be honest. Or, when I hear your real voice, not your polished one, I relax. And allow yourself to be seen and heard, not just as calm and capable, but as you are. Let someone hear the tired edge in your voice. Let them witness you in stillness, in slowness, in simplicity. You don't need to always modulate or manage how you're received, because when sensory intimacy becomes not a performance, but emotional fidelity through the senses, your Shravana moon finds the connection it was created to hold. A bond that says, I hear you, even when you don't speak. I see you, even when you don't reach. And I am here not to interpret or analyze, but simply to know you deeply and quietly as you are. Intimacy of kindness with moon in Shravana Nakshatra. Approach should always be one of kindness and compassion, giving each other space to be individual and unique, yet caring and nurturing. With the moon in Shravana, kindness is not just emotion. It is devotional conduct. You don't simply want to be loved. You want to be treated with thoughtfulness, steadiness, and care that reflects emotional maturity. Your moon thrives in environments where affection is quiet, consistent, and never rushed. For you, kindness is about how someone shows up when no one else is watching, not how loudly they declare their love. Shravana is ruled by Vishnu, the preserver, and carries the symbol of the ear. This gives your emotional world a deeply receptive and listening nature. You are profoundly attuned to others' unspoken needs, and you value kindness as action rooted in understanding. Someone folding your blanket, listening when you're too tired to explain, remembering what soothes you, these are the gestures that unlock your trust. You are naturally giving, but your kindness is anchored in discipline. You don't scatter your energy. You help those who are ready to meet you with respect. You give time, attention, nurturing, but with boundaries. You understand that real kindness includes self-respect. You offer loyalty, care, and an emotionally stable presence. But when kindness becomes codependent or emotionally manipulative, your inner self begins to contract. If someone offers affection as currency or uses guilt to elicit connection, your intuitive filters detect it immediately. Kindness without emotional clarity does not feel safe to your moon. What you need is not just warmth, but ethical affection. Care that respects your silence, doesn't rush your heart, and recognizes that tenderness is not weakness, it's wisdom in action. You open to those who are generous with their listening, not just their gestures. To deepen this intimacy, express your inner code. Say, kindness to me is remembering without being asked, being gentle with my quiet, respecting my pace, not just my presence. Or, what soothes me is steadiness, small actions done with care, not big declarations. And allow yourself to receive kindness, even when you don't feel deserving. Let someone bring you softness when you're hard on yourself. Let someone hold the silence with you. Let their care arrive not as rescue, but as recognition of your effort, your endurance, your humanity. Because when kindness becomes not sentimentality, but quiet reverence for the bond, your Shravana moon finds the intimacy it was designed to carry. A love that says, you don't have to ask, I've been listening. And I will meet you, not with noise, but with presence. Not with pressure, but with peace. Intimacy of growth with moon in Shravana Nakshatra, allowing each to grow at their own pace, yet being self-honoring, by allowing themselves to be loved and nurtured, even if it means with other partners. With the moon in Shravana, growth is a sacred journey of integration, not disruption. You don't rush to evolve. You grow through absorption, reflection, and quiet application. For you, intimacy flourishes when both people are allowed to develop at their own rhythm, without the pressure to be constantly available or emotionally synchronized. You crave a bond that understands. Depth takes time, and devotion does not require uniformity. Shravana is ruled by Vishnu, the protector and preserver, and is symbolized by the ear, signifying listening, learning, and legacy. Your emotional nature is built on a foundation of observation and inner refinement. You are deeply committed to your personal path, and you honor growth that is measured, meaningful, and consistent with your values. Change does not frighten you, as long as it feels authentic. You can support a partner's expansion, even if it challenges the familiar structure of the relationship. You understand that true loyalty does not require control. It requires clarity and communication. But dishonesty, secrecy, or emotional vagueness will erode your trust. You don't need to be the center of someone else's transformation, but you do need to be informed, respected, and included in the process. When you yourself are growing, spiritually, emotionally, creatively, you may become quieter, more inward. You don't always announce your evolution in loud gestures. You let your actions reflect your shift. And you need a partner who doesn't panic in your stillness, who doesn't confuse withdrawal with withdrawal of love. You thrive when your transitions are heard, not questioned. Your style of growth is rooted in humility and devotion. You expand through service, wisdom, and the quiet cultivation of inner strength. You value love that allows space, not abandonment, support, not surveillance. You are loyal, but you are not immobile. To deepen this intimacy, say, I grow slowly and with care. I don't need to be pushed, but I do need to be trusted while I change. Or, I respect your evolution, but I need honesty, not avoidance, if your path starts moving differently from mine. And allow yourself to be loved in the becoming. Let your partner see you not just in your certainty, but in your questions. Let them walk beside you even when you're unsure of your next step. Let love exist not only in completion, but in listening along the way. Because when growth becomes not a wedge, but a way of walking together, when it is honored with patience, clarity, and kindness, your Shravana moon finds the intimacy it was made for. A connection that says, you don't have to rush to stay with me. You only have to keep listening to yourself, to me, and to the love we are still shaping together. Intimacy of activity with moon in Shravana Nakshatra. To be honoring of oneself and the other in what and with whom they want to participate in activities without force or compulsion. With the moon in Shravana, shared activity is not about constant doing. It is about meaningful engagement. You don't seek connection through motion alone. You seek it through intention, through alignment, through a sense that what's being done carries emotional or spiritual value. For you, even the simplest task, like folding laundry together or walking in silence, can become intimate when it is done with attentiveness and mutual respect. Shravana is ruled by Vishnu, the divine listener and preserver of dharma. It brings a deep emotional receptivity, but also an intrinsic desire for purpose and order. Your moon craves activity that feels anchored, not scattered. You are not one to leap into every event or invitation. You prefer to invest your energy in what feels enduring, wise, or rooted in shared growth. You are most nourished when shared activities allow for connection through rhythm, a routine, a spiritual practice, shared caregiving, or even a joint responsibility. What matters to you is how present your partner is, not how many things you do together. You want to feel their integrity behind the gesture. You want to know they are there with you, not just around you. You may also enjoy learning-based or tradition-rich experiences, travel with a cultural purpose, time spent listening to music, reading side by side, or rituals that bring both comfort and deeper understanding. Your moon is deeply attuned to activity that reflects values and shared emotional language. However, if you're forced into activities that feel hollow, chaotic, or performative, your emotional system grows quiet and protective. You won't rebel. You'll retreat. You may smile, but internally you've unplugged. You don't do well when your participation is expected simply out of habit or pressure. For you, every yes must come from true attunement. To deepen this intimacy, say, I connect best when we choose to do things with purpose, even simple things. I don't need excitement. I need intention. Or, I may not always want to participate in the same way you do, but I'll be present in what feels true to me. And allow yourself to explore new kinds of togetherness. Let go of needing every activity to be aligned with your comfort zone. Let your partner's joy sometimes guide the moment. Let spontaneity complement your steadiness. Let curiosity open new channels of connection. Because when activity becomes not expectation, but sacred participation, when you're free to engage from your listening self, not your performing self, your Shravana moon finds the intimacy it's designed to hold. A relationship that says, you don't have to move constantly to matter to me. You only have to move with meaning. And wherever you are, when your heart is present, I'm with you. Intimacy of allowance with moon in Shatra, to allow each to be who and what they are at any given moment, day, or week of their life, knowing that one is not a master or slave of another. With the moon in Shravana, allowance is not passivity, it is graceful understanding. You are deeply tuned to rhythm, timing, and the inner cycles of those you love. You sense when someone needs space before they know how to ask. And for you, real intimacy is not built on constant closeness. It is built on emotional respect, on the simple truth that love listens and love lets be. Shravana, ruled by Vishnu and symbolized by the ear, gives your moon a sacred capacity for holding silence without needing to fix it. You understand that people change, that moods shift, that some days the heart is open and other days it's folded quietly inward. You don't demand a partner to always be cheerful, giving, or emotionally available. What you need is not constancy in performance, but honesty in presence. You are most at peace when your partner allows you to move at your own emotional pace, when they don't prod your silence, when they don't read your quiet as distance, when they trust that even when you pull inward, your love is still intact, still listening from within. You offer this same allowance in return. You are loyal not because you expect perfection, but because you believe in showing up through fluctuation. You let people be in process. You make room for the off days, the uncertainty, the mess. Your love says, you don't need to be on for me to remain. But what you cannot tolerate is emotional insincerity, someone who asks for space but hides behind it, or who changes shape without communicating why. You need transparency. You need the dignity of truth, even when it's messy. For you, allowance is not license for withdrawal. It's permission for authenticity. To deepen this intimacy, say, there are days when I'm quiet, internal, or tender. What I need most is not to be fixed, but to be trusted in that space. Or, if you're shifting, let me know, not because I need to stop it, but because I want to walk beside your truth. And allow yourself to receive that same trust. You don't have to explain every silence. You don't have to justify your emotional shifts. Let someone love you when you're quiet. Let someone sit with your stillness. Let yourself be held even when you don't feel generous or expressive. Because when allowance becomes not distance, but deep honoring of individuality, your Shravana moon finds the intimacy it listens for beneath all words. A love that says, you are not required to be anything other than who you are, today, tomorrow, or the day after. I am here, and I trust your rhythm. Intimacy of giving with moon in Shravana Nakshatra, knowing and being that all love originates in the act of giving, safety of space, nurturing, and caring. With the moon in Shravana, giving is an act of devotional attentiveness. You don't give loudly. You give consistently, quietly, and with deep emotional presence. For you, love isn't proven through performance. It's revealed through reliability, through the care that remembers, through the hand that reaches out at exactly the right moment. Your giving is precise, personal, and deeply attuned to the rhythms of the one you love. Ruled by Vishnu, the great sustainer and listener, Shravana carries the emotional wisdom of someone who understands that giving is not about how much, but about how well. You give not to be praised, but because you notice. You remember someone's preferences. You anticipate their needs. You respond before they have to ask. This is how your love whispers. You matter to me. I see you, even in silence. Your style of giving is grounded in structure and purpose. You may offer rituals of care, daily check-ins, a meal prepared with tenderness, or space given exactly when needed. You are not reckless with your emotional resources. You give from emotional clarity, not compulsion. What matters most to you is that your giving is received with presence, not necessarily with fanfare, but with respect. If someone treats your efforts as invisible or takes your steadiness for granted, your moon grows quiet and restrained. You won't stop loving, but you will stop offering until trust is rebuilt. You also need space to give in your own rhythm. You are not the kind of lover who pours endlessly at every moment. You give from a place of inner listening. And when you give, it's because you mean it, not because you feel obligated. To deepen this intimacy, speak your intention. Say, I may not always show love in flashy ways, but I give with thought, with steadiness, and with heart. What I offer with meaning. Or, When my care is received with presence, I feel safe to give even more. And allow yourself to give without editing yourself. Let the hug last longer than planned. Let your nurturing rise without second-guessing whether it's needed. Let love move through you, not just when it's convenient, but when it's true. Because when giving becomes not duty or transaction, but a quiet honoring of presence and need, your Shravana moon finds the intimacy it naturally offers the world. A love that says, I give because I've been listening. I give because I care deeply. And I give not to hold power, but to keep us steady, rooted, and whole. Intimacy of receiving with moon and Shravana Nakshatra. Knowing and being that intimacy is an act of receiving with gratitude and originates in the inner feeling of being abundant in giving, receiving another at all levels, physical, emotional, and mental. With the moon in Shravana, receiving is not about indulgence. It is about mutual resonance. You give so consistently, so attentively, that receiving can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. You are often the listener, the one who holds space. So when someone turns that same care toward you, pauses to witness your silence, meets your needs without you having to speak, it touches you deeply and often unexpectedly. Shravana, ruled by Vishnu, the deity of preservation, brings a moon that is reflective, principled, and attuned to the subtle emotional undertones in every interaction. You are not impressed by grand offerings. You are moved by care that is accurate, timely, and respectful. When someone truly sees you, your quiet labor, your effort, your emotional pacing, and responds with presence, your defenses melt. Receiving becomes sacred when it is clean, quiet, and conscious. You don't want to be overwhelmed with help or flooded with attention. But a simple gesture, someone cooking for you without fanfare, checking in when your energy dips, or remembering something you said weeks ago, lands in your heart like a vow being kept. You don't need much. You just need to know that love is being offered with sincerity and awareness. What you resist is receiving that comes with pressure or performance. If someone gives in order to feel needed, praised, or reassured, your moon senses it. You may shrink away or politely deflect, not out of pride, but because you are deeply protective of the purity of exchange. You only open when the gift feels emotionally honest and energetically safe. You are not resistant to receiving. You are discerning. But learning to receive with ease and grace, without the impulse to immediately reciprocate, deepens your emotional fulfillment and creates balance in your relationships. You don't always have to be the strong one. You don't always have to earn rest, care, or affection. To deepen this intimacy, say, when love is offered without expectation, I can truly receive it. I don't need grand gestures. I need presence. Or, I'm learning to let support in without feeling like I have to deserve it first. And allow yourself to be touched by the care you so often extend to others. Let someone hold your silence. Let their kindness reach the part of you that rarely asks. Let yourself be nourished, not because you've given enough, but because you already are enough. Because when receiving becomes not a disruption, but a shared emotional flow, your Shravana moon finds the intimacy it's quietly designed for. A love that says, I hear the part of you that never asks. I offer this not to fix you, but because you are worthy of being received in full as you are.